So in this session, in engineering economics, we will see about annual equivalent method under the third unit, cash flow. So in annual equivalent method, we will see about a revenue dominated cash flow diagram and also cost dominated cash flow diagram. Okay, so I'm using the prescribed textbook as in the syllabus, the Paneer Selvam R. Okay. We are knowing about the annual equivalent method. So in this method, it is also, in generally, we can say it is also a concept of selecting the best alternative, right? So in the method of comparison, first the annual equivalent cost or revenue of each alternative will be computed. Okay, so and also that so with that we will get the maximum equivalent revenue uh, in case of revenue based comparison, or the minimum amount of annual equivalent cost in the case of cost based comparison will be the will be selected as the best alternative. So you have to understand that clearly. Okay, so if it is a revenue based comparison, then you have to go for the maximum annual equivalent revenue. And if you are going to choose about the cost based comparison, then you have to go for the minimum annual equivalent cost. So that will be the main base for this annual equivalent method. Okay, so now we'll move on to the revenue dominated cash flow diagram. Okay, so if you I already told you that in case of revenue based comparison, then what you do, you'll have to take the maximum annual equivalent revenue, right? Okay, so here, so we'll so in revenue dominated cash flow diagram, so here they have given the revenue dominated cash flow diagram, and the P represents the initial investment, and RJ represents the net revenue at the end of the jth year, and S is the salvage value at the end of the nth year. And the first step is to find the net present value of the cash flow diagram. So you can use the following expression to find uh, the value. So with a given interest rate, and then you can see that in the above formula, the expenditure is signed with a negative sign, and the revenue are assigned as a positive sign. So you have to take the expenditure should be in the negative sign, and then the revenue so should be in the positive side. So that all the incomes will be in the positive side, and all the expenses will be in the negative side. So the last step will be the annual equivalent revenue could be completed with the following formula, and you can check out the factors again. This A by P, you can check out these factors in the previous chapters, which I have already mentioned you. Okay, so these the uh, the factors, right? That A by P, I and N. So this factor is called as the equal payment series capital recovery factor. Okay, so suppose if we have some more alternatives where which are to be compared with this alternative, then the corresponding annual equivalent revenues are to be computed and compared. So we already saw about the in the previous problems we have solved alternative 1, alternative 2, right, or alternative 3. So how much ever alternatives we are having, we have computed separately, and then finally the alternatives of the whichever is favorable we have taken, right? So here the favorable will be the alternatives with the maximum annual equivalent revenue, right? So that maximum annual revenue will be considered as best alternative. So here the cost dominated cash flow diagram. So for this cost dominated cash flow diagram, we have got the following the diagram. So here the P is the represents the initial investment, and CJ is your net cost of operation, and the maintenance at the year of jth year. And yes, is as usual, yeah, it is a salvage value at the end of the nth year. And the first step, you can find the net of present worth with the following formula, and then you can find it with the annual equivalent cost can be computed with this formula and the following formula. And also keep in mind that here the expenditure is considered as a positive and the salvage value is considered as negative, right? So here in the above column, that expenditure is taken as sorry for the interruption of the audio. So yeah, so here the revenue dominated cash flow diagram, you are having the expenditure is taken as negative, right? So but whereas in the cost dominated cash flow diagram, we have taken it as positive, right? Okay, so now you can have this the same, that A by P I N is called as the this factor is called as the equal payment series capital recovery factor, right? So the both are having dealing with the equal payment series capital recovery factor. Okay. So as in the previous cases, that if you're having more number of alternatives, then you have to check out whichever is better by computing separately, and then you can take whichever is minimum that can be selected as the best alternative. Okay. So moving to a problem. So a company provides a car to its chief executive. The owner of the company is concerned about the increase of cost of petrol. The cost per liter of petrol for the first year of operation is rupees 21. He feels that the cost of petrol will be increasing by rupees 1 every year. So, with experience with his company, car indicates that it average 9 kilometers per liter of petrol. The executive expects to drive an average of 20,000 kilometers each year for the next 4 years. What is the annual equivalent cost from fuel over this period of time if he offered similar service with the same quality of rental based of rupees 60,000 per year? Should the owner continue to provide a company car for his executive, or alternately provide a rental car to his executive? So assume I interest as 18 percentage. If the rental car is preferred, then the company car will be find some other use within the company. So you can pause the video and read the example question again. Okay, so I hope that you read the question. So here the car owner, that is the company car. Okay, so he feels that the price of the petrol is getting rise of rupees 1 every year. Okay, so that is the present that operation is of rupees 20, and then later it will maybe increasing for rupees 1 for every year. Okay, and he also gets that it is giving like 9 kilometer mileage is giving 9 kilometer per liter of petrol with the experience. And so he also expects that the car average kilometer that has to give 20,000 for the next 4 years. Okay, so if we have to find the annual equivalent cost of fuel, so over this period of a time. And also that uh, he wants to have an offer with a similar service like rental based car, so that would be almost 60,000 per year. So should the owner continue to provide the company car for his executive, or alternatively to use the rental car and use the original this owner car for the other company within the company uses. Okay, and also that we have to take it I as interest as 18 percentage, right? So so with this thing itself, we it is clear that it's based on whichever mileage is giving lesser, means that amount will be less, so that will be considered, or else the mileage should be higher, rate should be lesser, so that will be considered as a benefit, right? So by reading the question itself we can understand this. Okay, so now moving on to the solution. Here the average number of kilometer run per year is 20,000 kilometer. Okay, the number of liters number of kilometer per liter is 9 kilometer by the experience. So therefore the petrol consumption will be 20,000 into 9 kilometers will be uh, you can calculate it in terms of liter. Okay, so then we are having that cost of first year of operation is 21 rupees of a petrol, and then it may increase rupees 1 for every next year, right? So we are having the first year will be 21, the second year will be 21 plus 1, third year will be 22 plus 1, or else you can say 21 plus 1 plus 1, right? So that will be your third year, and fourth year will be this. So totally we are having 23. So 23 plus 1, or else 21 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So 23, right? Okay. So now we got the amount of cost of petrol for the next 4 years. Okay. So now we can find the fuel expenditure. So for fuel expenditure, we have got that, assuming that will be almost 20,000 kilometers for with the 9 kilometers per liter of petrol, right? So here you can calculate it by multiplying petrol consumption per year into the cost of petrol per liter for increment for above expenditure will be the thing that will be your G, right? So equally shared, right? So equal. I hope that you remember this concept in the previous chapter, right? So equally that is getting increased. Okay, fine. So here, so that means that a a1 plus g, a1 plus 2g, a1 plus 3g. I hope that you're remembering, or else you can pause the video and you can move on to the previous annual equivalent increment method, and you can come back to the same video. Okay, so with this now you can find the we got the a1, and then you got G. So now you can calculate A. So A will be, you can use the same formula, A1 plus G, with that, with the factor of A by G, 18 percentage and 4. 4 is the number of years, 18 is the interest. Okay. So with this, the proposal of using the company car by spending for petrol by the cost with an annual equivalent amount of 49,543.28. So this is what we got, right? So for the 4 years, so which is less than that of the rental car. So what we can do is that you can use your own car. Okay, so that is the answer. So the next problem is a company is planning to purchase an average machine center. The original manufacturers have responded to its tender, whose particulars are tabulated. So here they have given 1 to 3 manufacturer and down payments and yearly installments and number of installments. Okay, so here to determine the best alternative based on the annual equivalent method by assuming I as a 20 percentage compounded annually. Okay, so here they have given a 3, so you will get alternative 3 alternatives. Okay, so I'll tell you how to calculate the alternatives. So for the first one, and then you can follow the same thing with the next two. Okay, so the first one they have given the manufacturer one with a down payment of 5 lakhs and the yearly equal installment as 2 lakhs and the number of installment as 15. So your down payment is the first installment which you have provided, right? So that will be a P. That is a 5 lakhs. And the yearly equal installment is A. So that is the equal installment, right? The annual. So equal you're giving you, right? So that is A is a 2 lakhs you're providing with the N. So the N is the number of installment that is 15 and the equal installment it's 20 percentage of annual and compounded annually, right? So yearly installment is 2 lakhs is given in the table. So now with this that you can find with a formula rarely used. So that is AE1 20 percentage. So now you find which formula you have adopted. Okay, so AE1. So A1 that is A is your the P that is A by P and 20 percentage and 15. So here you're having G, right? And then you're getting this annual equivalent. Okay, and then you can find your answer for the 20 percentage of the interest. So similarly, you can find for alternative 2 and 3. And here in this that we got that equivalent one as 3,06,950 and alternative 2 as 3,85,560 and alternative 3 as 3,85,560 and alternate 3 as 2,78,350. So you can opt the whichever is lowest, right? So you can go for the third option. Okay, so try to check out with the next two problems. And here just to keep in mind, so here you're having the investment of this, if it is having negative, then don't forget you have to put it in the negative and you have to calculate it. Okay, so read the remaining problems, example problems, and work out few. Okay, and at least three problems you can work out and check. Okay, so try to work out a question. Yeah, question number 6.4 and 6.3, and you can upload it. And if you have any other doubts on any other thing, you can just WhatsApp in the group or else in the private chat or in the classroom, or even you can mail me. Thank you.